Welcome back to episode 10 of the United Soccer Association podcast. Today we have a special guest. He's over at St. Pete Raiders. Coach Kojo will be joining us. Hey,
Hey,
Coach, how are
evening.
you? Hi,
Good. How
hi.
you doing? How you
All
doing?
good, all good, man. Super happy to have you here on our podcast and just get to know about your story and a little bit about yourself. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know we're all busy. You're a coach. You've got 1,000 million things going on. But just first off, just so everyone gets to know you, tell us who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do.
So my name is Kojo. Um, I was born in England and I moved here in 2015. I started coaching 4 years ago. I've been coaching high school, and 2 years ago I went into club coaching, and I ended up at Raiders, and I'm here. Yes,
Awesome. No, it's you all the way from England, right? You weren't born here.
yes.
How'd you make your way over to the States?
I was pretty young, and then my dad had to switch to America. So, it wasn't really a choice for me. At that point, it was more like I just follow him wherever he goes. So I ended up over here. And I would tell him, hey, it's a good decision so far because I'm loving what I'm doing right now. So yeah.
Awesome. No, it looks like it worked out. And I want to bring up the main point. We heard about your story. We heard about some of the success that you had on the women's side, the girls' side of the game, over at St. Pete Raiders, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons that we really wanted to bring you on and hear about that. You know, your success. Obviously, yes, your wins and the awards that you've won as a coach, but also the your players winning awards. But not only that, the some of the success off the field as well with these players. Just tell me a little bit about your time at St. Pete Raiders and where you've come and from where you started.
Yes. So I took over this team last year. Um the club approached me, and going in it was a bit of a lot of thinking because I didn't know what I wanted at that point. I was just coaching the youth team at that point, and then they approached me. So I went in there, saw the girls, and they did tryouts, and still decision to make at that time still. That is when I learned about the USA League because that's where the club told me we'll be playing. So I did a lot of research, and it was a good league for the girls at that time. So I accepted, and it has been a really good challenge for the girls and I as well. It's not just the girls, me as well as a coach. Going in, thinking of it as a project, going in and seeing all these girls, most of them from rec as well. Most of them that had like a really disappointing season the season before in the USA League. So coming in, it was a bit of we need to start somewhere.
Mm.
And the greatest thing about coaching girls that I would say is it's been a success so far because of the way they view the game. And I'm glad that the USA can actually accept that from the girl side as well. Because the boy side has always been there, growing up playing soccer as well. It was, the support was there, the push was there, so it was easy for the boys. For the girls, I mean, as a kid, I didn't really know a lot about the girl side, but growing up, I was like, we need to push. So when I accepted the team, and then kind of read through USA League and then the awards and the people that won the leagues before, because I was doing a lot of research about it, going on Instagram and seeing the pictures of like the previous winners and stuff like that. But the thing is, the light that was shown on the girls' side kind of made me happy. I'm like, okay, this is a really good league that we can go in thinking that we can get something out of it. So the season, obviously my story, the season started not the best, but kind of like new. Obviously, like I said, a lot of these girls coming from rec as well. And such a disappointing season. It's really hard. You kind of have to start somewhere. So the first couple months was really hard. But what I do love that my players did is they never gave up. They never once was like, we don't want to be there. They still showed up to practice every time with a smile on your face, ready to improve. Obviously, as a coach, it was a headache for me going back, sleeping, reviewing games while I'm sleeping. I'm like, I could have done this better. I could have done that better. So I ended up changing the whole system, changed the whole formation, and it was perfect from then on. The girls, I talked to the girls, and I was like, we need to switch something. We need to change something because, in as much as we're building something, we don't want to take losses every game. We want to get to a point where, like, even a tie, where even if the other team is better than us, but we kind of fought, we run harder than them, we fought harder than them, and we were able to get a tie. So having that conversation, we had a couple meetings where we would go and we wouldn't practice. We would just talk about stuff that we need to work on. And I ended up adding another day to our practices. And to my surprise, they all showed up as well. Usually it's hard when you have optional practices because it's optional, they don't have to. And getting like 12 or 13 girls every time on those optional practice was like a push for me as a coach because I'm like, you know what, they want it. So if they want it, I want it as well. So it was the push from the girls that just kind of made me just push myself as well. And then eventually we got to the point where it started working for us. um and then just kind of building through playing tournaments and stuff like that. We were able to play teams from other leagues where even though we lost, but it was a good loss, like a 2-0. And I'm like, I'll tell them, I'm like, this is good. This is not bad. This is good. This is how we push ourselves. So I think the success in that is from where we started and from all these girls, most of these girls not playing competitive before, stepping on the field. And most of the girls are came from 9v9 to 11v11 as well. So like a lot of changes going around. Me as a young coach as well, coming in, taking a team that needs uplifting and with not too much experience on my side as well. I think what helps us both is the kids push me and I push them. So it's been a really great story so far for the season.
No, it's awesome. I will have to. The biggest thing I just took away is I love how you said, um, you reflected, right? In the beginning of the season, there wasn't a lot of success, but you were humble enough to reflect, and you were always looking for your answers, right? Like every single day. Like I know this is like a word or term that a lot of coaches use, even through coaching education, right? You are always learning and you're always reflecting. If you're not always reflecting, that means you're not always developing. And I think that's a really big thing because I know a lot of coaches and people. It's hard for them to always look back and say, "Okay, I could have done better." But I think that's a really big step in your direction, even as a younger coach, to say, "Okay, what can we do to improve collectively? What decisions can maybe adhere to the team a bit better?" So I think I love that. I think that's great, and I think it's great that another piece because I also coach on the women's side. I was in the college, but then also at the high school level as well. And I think a big thing is the culture, right? And you said that you had an optional session and all
Hmm.
your girls
Hmm.
bought into that. So I think that's something a lot of coaches they struggle with at times is yes, they want to do the X's and O's, but they don't take that piece away of how's your culture? Are they bought in? Do they want to play for you? Do they want to play for one another? So that's great to hear. Is there anything just I mean, because for me, obviously, I've played in the game, I've learned, and I've understood that from learning from others as well. But what is something like if you had to tell another coach that maybe was struggling in building a culture or building an environment, what is some advice maybe that you have or something that you would really look to do to help that?
Um, I think the main important thing is they have to love the game. It's one of the biggest things that I think coaches, some coaches, and not to be too hard on them, fail to realize at the start is they have to love the game. Otherwise, they wouldn't show up. When I was going in there, I was overthinking about that because I'm like, growing up, me, I love the game. I wanted to be out there every day. I wanted to play. And then I realized that's the reason why I was there. That's the reason why, because I loved this so much. I couldn't really think about anything else apart from just going out there and playing soccer. So I think it's just if you get them to love the game so much, it's easier to put the culture out there and they'll buy in easily because they want to be out there. When I came in, the last thing I wanted to do is just scream at everyone and yell at everyone after mistakes and be like, "You go run, you didn't do this right." I'm like, no. That's gonna end. I coached the U14, like I said, and at that age, you don't want to do that. You don't want to go in and go all crazy on them because, again, most of them, I would say maybe 80% of my players are still learning the game. So mistakes are part of the game. And I'm not just talking about mistakes that regular soccer players would do, like mistakes far, far down there, and it happens. And the last thing is you go and then you scream at them, you yelling at them. They will not show up again. So it's just about them loving the game. And once you get that, because that's what I realized halfway through, I'm like, wow, they really, because if they're showing up on Wednesdays, optional practices, they're not there to see me you know they're there to play, and I'm like, okay, great, they actually love the game now. So now I'm not saying go full strict, but now I can put my culture out there and be like, okay, when we step on the field, mentality is up there, this is what we want to do. It's easier to introduce that there and then, because then they want to be there. So whenever you introduce, they're like, okay, coach, we got this, we'll go. So it's just about bringing your team to love the sports, the sports they're playing, and after that, I think you can just introduce whatever you want to put in there, and they'll buy in.
Awesome. No, I think that's great. And we do, just so you know, and I'm going to say this in the podcast, we do a clip for social media, but I think that's a great clip. I love the fact that, there's a coach maybe that's even younger and he can reflect, especially if they're going, even a female coach, men's coach, whatever it is, they can always reflect and come back and say, okay,
Yes.
Coach Kojo had
Yes.
success at the Raiders at the U14 level. And,
Yes.
yeah, he was able to find success in that way, building a culture first, allowing the girls to love the game, and going from there.
Yes. Yes.
Um, no, I think it's awesome. It's awesome to hear. Now, you also said you were a high school coach. Tell me a little
Yes.
bit. Obviously, you coach club and you coach high school.
Yes.
Tell
Yes.
me a little bit about some of the differences that you've seen between the both.
Um, Obviously, there's a lot of differences in there, and I had the privilege to coach both boys and girls in high school as well. So that was a
Okay.
tough period in my life, back to back games and
Oh
stuff
wow.
like that. So that was rough. But um, I think the biggest difference is in high school, you have a lot of people that are trying it out, not really necessarily buying into the sports yet. They're kind of like just like an extracurriculum activity on the side, kind of thing. So there you have to be at the lowest tone. And that's the difference, because at club, I tell the girls, I'm like, your parents paid money for you to be here. So it's a bit different. I can't go on my lowest tone with you guys, because then I'm not doing justice to your parents, because they spend their time out there. Most of my parents stay and watch practices. We travel far away to go play games and stuff like that. But with high school, it's a bit different. The biggest thing in high school, in comparing like high school girls to club girls, was the biggest thing was drama, obviously. um because they see each other every day, compared to club, where some most of them go to different schools, so it's easier. When they see each other again, it's more like, oh, hey, I missed you, kind of thing. And then in high schools, like, I see you every day, so there's a lot of drama. So that's the thing that I preach to my girls now all the time. I'm like, one of the things that killed my team in high school was drama. It was not because they weren't good. It was because they see each other way too much, and there was like a lot of conversations behind each other. And then I'm like, with you guys, we practice Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I'm like, you guys don't see each other like every day. So I'm like, value that. Don't come in here and bring a lot of drama, because in high school it's just hard to dismiss these dramas, because they're going to see each other the next day in the morning, and you never know what's going to happen before I see them later. You get me? So it's the biggest difference is just them seeing each other every day. So whatever you kill at practice, they're going to see themselves tomorrow morning, and you're not going to be there. At club, I will be there all the time. When they show up, I'm right there. So whatever drama it is, I don't know if they do that in the group chat or whatever, but whatever drama it is not in front of me. And I do appreciate that compared to the high school one. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. How did you we'll talk a little bit about that, right? Because I think it kind of coincides with the culture, and then even connects with some of the success that your players have had. I know at the club, but if there was drama even at the club, or in your high school, how did you handle it? Like, you would come to a game, or maybe you're at a practice, and how do you handle things when you're on site? Obviously, I know there's so many different situations.
Yes.
What is a generic, like, how do you build that culture, obviously, when there's disputes within the team?
So I have a really good example because surprisingly I saw her in Publix when last week. One of the kids on the high school team, lovely player, lovely kid, has a bit of a she has a bit of a tantrum sometimes. So in a game where it was going really hard for us, we were winning 1-0, right? But she wasn't getting a lot of the touches on the ball, and she's a striker. And then she was blaming her teammate. It was a lot of cuss words out there. Wasn't a big fan of it. So halftime happened. We went into the locker room and I was like, hey, that cannot happen again, you know. And the thing is, one of the biggest thing that I do is I make sure I say it in front of everyone. I'm not gonna pull you aside, no, because if you did that in front of everyone, I'm gonna make sure I talk to you in front of everyone. So I laid down. I was like, we cannot do that. You know, at the end of the day, we're playing a game. We're a team. The last thing I want to do is my team fighting on the field because then the other team just gets the confidence to actually play better now. So I'm like, we're not going to do that. Obviously, she didn't take it pretty well. Threw a couple more tantrums in the locker room, and then I sat her down, and that's our top scorer. That's arguably one of our best players on the team, and I sat her down. In the second half, she wasn't happy. After the game, I went to talk to mom. The next game, she sat on the bench the whole game as well. I think one of the things that I do is I try to make it um, a way where everyone sees what's going on, because if I pull you aside and I have the conversation and I mellow you down, I'm like, hey, I know you're frustrated, blah, blah, blah. We can do this. And then I put you back in there. Next time someone else is having a bad game, it's probably going to happen again because they just saw you do it. So I try to just make, not in a bad way, but an example out of everyone in front of the whole team, because the last thing I need is a repetition or people thinking it's okay to do that. Because at the end of the day, you guys are still teenagers, you know, and I'm your coach, and I'm not gonna sit there for you to talk because you never know how the other player is gonna take it. Because in the game where maybe the other player might be struggling mentally as well in the game, maybe she's not playing good. So if she gets the ball and she couldn't give you the pass, give you the whatever you wanted, and then you start screaming at her, now that player's confidence is even lower than it was before because you just start yelling at her. So I'm like, we cannot speak down on people without knowing what's going on. So how about we just kind of like maybe try and get involved in the game in a different way, or just push your teammates that are having, you know, better games than you and just push them to go. Otherwise, you're going to be made an example of. And if it happens again, and I think I have a reputation of really kicking a lot of players off my team back in high school, and it's because, and again, this is especially with the boys as well, is the culture in youth soccer and especially in high school is no one wants to try super hard because they're made fun of. You know, oh, you try hard. That's like the biggest thing. Not even just in high school, in youth, in club as well. It's like, oh, you try hard. So now everyone is just kind of on you. And I keep telling my players, I'm like, what if everyone is a try hard? And who are we going to tease here? You know, if all 18 or 14 players are tryhards, no one is going to talk about anyone because you're doing the same thing. So it's one of those where I make an example out of everyone in front, like out of that person in front of everyone, so it doesn't repeat again. And one thing is, I'll go talk to your parent as well. And I'll explain to them what happened, and I'll explain to them what my reason is and what my decision is. From what I'm gonna do ahead of time and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, every kid is different, and I don't want you to bring your problems and just spread it around the team. If you want to talk to me personally, come talk to me personally. But you can't bring drama into the team when you don't know what others are going through. Yes.
What I do enjoy that you said, and just listening to you speak about your experiences, uh, I know there is at times, like, we will have, like you said, you mentioned that she was your best goal scorer. Um, I think what a lot of coaches sometimes stray away from is, okay, they're the top goal scorer. we're gonna let her play, and the consequences won't, or whatever disciplinary matter, whatever it might be, they don't go towards her or him or whatever the case is, and because they're the best, and we need them to win the game, and they value the result of the game more than the environment and culture. But then everything else starts to tank down, right? Because now the players can see the favoritism, the players can see that there's no discipline towards this player. And so I was just listening to you talk in that regard. I think it's great. I think every player has a certain way of being spoken to, especially different personalities. But yeah, it's interesting to hear, because yes, in the high school, the youth game, um, yeah, it's just it's different. Coach is different. Everyone can say yes, right or wrong, but I do enjoy to hear that you didn't treat this player differently because of they were the top goal scorer. So I love that
Yes.
you set that example that way. um, I have to go back, just going back to the league side. I was just out of curiosity asking about the high school. Obviously you manage a lot, from the club game to the high school. um, the USA League. What is your biggest thing? Like, I know you said the girls, you've really bought into the league, and it was a good start for the girls to play in this league. Why should teams play in our league? Why the United Soccer Association?
I think is the biggest thing when it comes to youth soccer is you need a start. You need a start that is really good competitively, and it's important that the girls have that. Obviously, they have too many leagues now in the youth league, and but I think the main important thing that I loved about the USA is they buy into whatever they preach, and it's such a starter for everyone that wants to start their team. Like I said, the competitive side is the great part, but you don't want to just rush in and then go against teams that you just lose 8-0 every game, because that's just not going to help anyone. When I came in, and I'll tell you the biggest thing that I loved about the USA League is when the schedule was made, and obviously I had to move my schedule around because I coached the boys as well, and just rescheduling that, it was so great because the other coaches were excellent. I'm just gonna give them credit, whoever. I forgot most of their names, apologies, but and the funny thing is they pick up my numbers and then they will call me and then they will talk about like the experience as well. And one thing that I love as a person, and I'll give myself credit for this one, is I love learning. I love learning. So just them calling me or me calling them talking about their teams and what they're doing. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good thing. I'll do that for my team as well. So it's such a great league because the coaches are wonderful as well, in terms of risk scheduling, in terms of talking to them. So like we'll go to games and maybe we've talked like 4 or 5 times on the phone, but we've never seen each other before. So we get to games and then we just like couldn't run to each other and just kind of like talk a bit before the game starts. So just everything all around the league in terms of, whatever they put up front, the coaches, the environment, the culture. I mean, the girls that we've played, they've been excellent. We've never had any team that just being disrespectful or anything. It's just been super competitive. The girls love it. It's been great. So the thing is, the environment, the culture around the league is such a good thing for, like I said, for my group, for a group that's just starting in the competitive side of the game. I think the league is like the best spot for that.
Awesome. So yeah, I think right on, right, is that's a big reason as to why I'm part of the United Soccer Association, as well as the mission and the values that they have is different than X, Y, and Z league. And I think the USA League has a specific target market, right? We're not getting the number one team in the nation to come play in our league, right? But at the end of the day, it's a starting point for competitive players and competitive teams. Even so, like we do have other teams that maybe even beyond just a starting point playing in our leagues, especially in the older age groups as well. So we do the games at Alang. We should be doing that again, hopefully here.
Yes, I loved
And
it.
then
I loved it.
yeah, yeah, we make it a big deal, and the four teams, we had two girls teams and two boys teams. They absolutely loved it. The parents loved it, the teams loved it, the coaches loved it, the spotlight, right? And
I
but
know. I know.
Yeah.
That's my
Uh,
team's goal. By the way, that's my
okay.
team's goal. I told them, I'm like, hey, I want to go there too. I'll also go there too. They're like, Coach, we want to go there too. So trust me, you'll see us this season over there for
There
sure,
you go.
for sure.
Yeah, so it's cool. You get the whole locker room experience, get to see what the professional sides get to see, and but we also have the college ID camps as well with our partnership with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. So yes, yes, we are obviously a league, but like you said, there's a phrase that was being passed around. It was one league, one association, multiple clubs, but with one vision. And I think, like you said, it's a big community of players and coaches, volunteers, administrators that are is really just trying to help the game and push the game forward, like a coach like yourself. So, no, this is all great things to hear. And Coach Kojo, thank you so much. Like I said, for even taking the time to get on here, sharing your story, sharing your why and what you do beyond just the youth game in the high school realm as well. Thank you so much for just being a part of this game and pushing the game forward in the right direction, man.
Yes, thank you guys so much for being who you guys are. When I emailed it back, I didn't really expect to get an answer back. I'm not even gonna lie over here. I emailed it. I just felt like I was sitting there. I saw the email. I'm like, you know what? I love this team so much, and I think they deserve that. So I just send that in to just get that email back, and then whatever discussions that we just had to even have me on the podcast. That just shows the kind of league you guys are. Just pushing coaches, pushing people, pushing plays and stuff like that. So I appreciate you guys a lot, and I am great to be a part of this league. My players are grateful as well, and thank you. Yes.
Awesome. See you soon, okay?
Oh, I see.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh-huh.